Wow. I still am trying to process all what occurred Saturday night at DKR, trying to figure out this team, trying to figure out how they could lose to Kansas at DKR at home. I mean, it's the second loss for Texas against Kansas since 2016. That was Charlie Strong's last season, and that loss to Kansas up in Lawrence, that pretty much put the nail in the coffin on that era. But I'm just beyond myself. The only positives I could ever imagine from this was Texas' ability to come back and send it to overtime after trailing 35-14 in that first half. Unbelievable. The 4 turnovers, the missed tackles. I mean, if you go back, that clip on the Kansas football's Twitter page, kind of like the montage, you see the missed tackles. It was quite evident was one of the big issues. Unbelievable. And it's hard to really accept this is where Texas football is. And I'll stand beside it. You are what your record is. By the way, this special edition reviewing the Kansas loss is brought to you by Farmhouse Delivery, where you can visit farmhousedelivery.com. They are Austin-based, Texas-sourced organic foods, organic meats, organic produce. Just fill your cart as just in time for Thanksgiving. Perfect idea. And then when you check out, use the promo code MANCAVE for 20% off of your first order from Farmhouse Delivery. Now, I was at the game. The energy was low. I thought from the crowd on, I think the crowd is just being cautiously optimistic because Texas is now, and we'll talk more about becoming bowl eligible. Texas now has to win out and beat West Virginia on the road this week, and Morgantown is a tough place to play. And Texas has had some success there, and then come back home and beat Kansas State. They have to win those 2 games in order to go to a bowl game. And we're looking at this being one of the worst seasons in Texas football history because of that loss to 1-8 Kansas at home. Just think back, Texas was 4-1 at some point this year, and now they may not even finish the year with their one of the best running backs in the country, Bijan Robinson. He may be out for the season. I believe it was a elbow injury. We'll find out more this week. Of course, what could Sark say? Well, he's visibly upset, visibly angry, visibly disappointed, but in the classiest way possible. There's a mantra on the players' meeting wall, and he alludes to it when asked about what happened.
You know, it says it up on the wall right here in our team room. The team that has discipline, commitment, toughness, and accountability all of the time, that's what wins games, and that's what ultimately wins championships. And we didn't clearly play that way in the first half. And when you fall behind 35-14 at halftime, you got 3 turnovers, you can't stop the run, you can't contain the quarterback on 3rd down. That's a problem.
Yeah, significant problems everywhere across the field. It seems like Texas is regressing every game because now there used to be a first half start out fast. It's not happening. I think there's a disconnect in this locker room. I think there's a group of players which are truly committed to Sarkisian's program and system. And I think there's another group of players which are checked out. That's what it looks like. I could be completely off base on that. I just don't know if it's going to get any better this year. I mean, this is a team that is going to have to hit up the transfer portal. I don't know to the level of Michigan State, which has 15 transfer portal guys which transferred into the program. But Texas has a dire need for offensive linemen, even defensive linemen, linebackers, and receivers especially. But, you know, I just cannot put my finger on it. I've had a lot of conversations today, and I try to disconnect from it because it was just hard to watch. Valiant effort in that second half. And as we talk about adding pieces to this roster with the first signing day for high school and junior college athletes, mainly high school, coming up in December, and then the second, of course, early February. Texas has got a highly rated recruiting class currently committed, but Sarkisian was asked about that. What does this do for recruiting? What would happen? Do you think there will be decommits? And he made a good point right here.
Well, I think at the end of the day, recruiting is about, there's got to be some foresight into where we're going as a program, the belief in what we do and how we do it. I think we build great relationships with the players we're recruiting. Clearly, nobody likes to lose, right? But I think there is some aspect of potential moving forward, and I think that the recruits see that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. What a lot of people say, and I think it's just common reaction that the sky is falling for this program. The sky is falling. There's even people who are questioning the hiring of Sark. Now, tap your brakes on that. This group needs 3 to 5 years. And I know you're looking at me and probably saying, Sean, you're crazy. He's not going to make it. This program is not in good shape. And it's because of all the turnover in the last decade plus years, dating back to Mac, from the president, the ADs, all of the coordinators, to Charlie Strong succeeding Mac. This is all what I like to call, and I've mentioned it many times, residual systemic issues has plagued this program. And I want to show you a graphic. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, mainly because everyone has this perception of what Texas is. And I really think everyone who is a Longhorn fan needs to step back and realize who are we? I want to show you this. This is kind of sobering to watch or just to take a look at. So I did something similar to this when we were strictly audio, the Texas football program dating back to 1980, and I compared it to OU and Ohio State. And I will give you the numbers for Texas A&M as well and shortly, but take a look at this. Since 1980, Texas has had 10 losing seasons. 24 of those seasons since 1980, they have experienced 4+ losses. 14 of those seasons have been 5+ loss seasons. Contrasting difference at Oklahoma, only 4 losing seasons, 14 4+ loss seasons, and 8 5+ loss seasons. Ohio State. Now, these are programs that the fan base, majority of them, would like to say that Texas is on the same level. Texas is not on the level of OU and Ohio State. Look at Ohio State. 3 losing seasons and 11. That's 13 less 4+ loss seasons and 10 less 5+ loss seasons. It's a big difference, and it's sobering almost to see this, that Texas, for the most part, is a top 20 program. When you look at the overall wins, very few championships since 1980. But there was the 01-09 run with Mac that was on a much different level. It's just been a mediocrity has set in quite a bit before that and after Mac's era. And let me remove this. So the big difference when I took a look at Texas A&M was they didn't have as many losing seasons. They have not had as many losing seasons as Texas has had, and that was shocking to me. But it's the fact. And so this is where I think Texas fans need to really take a good look at the program and have expectations, but at the same time, temper them. and realize we've got to commit to Sark and his coaching staff at the minimum 3 years. This is going to be a 5-year project to get this program back to national title type of program. It's really in a much worse shape than people think, but they are close. I really do. I do believe when Sark says that this program's close. I know we can't see it, but his recruits are like Worthy, Xavier Worthy, making the plays as a freshman All-American. The offensive line needs a ton of depth. They're going to have to hit probably junior college transfers and transfer portal and not miss on many of the high school guys that they sign. That's where Texas is. Will this be another 4-win season where they're headed down to that final stretch as we are right now, the last 3 games of the year, and needing a win or 2? I don't think it's going to happen next year. But another statistic that I did some research on, including 2010, Texas has needed 1 or 2 wins in their final 3 games of the year of the season 7 times, including from 2010 to current. That's where Texas is. And it's hard to understand. It's hard to realize and really grasp the fact that that is where Texas is right now. And Texas A&M has surpassed Texas because they're not having any issues really reaching bowl eligibility. But reaching bowl eligibility is not where Texas and A&M want to be. So Texas needs to win at West Virginia and at Kansas State. It's going to be extremely difficult, but we've seen Texas come through in situations like this, and I think a bowl game would serve this program well. But as far as the locker room goes, it has the makings of a group. I don't know this, of a group which is torn between not having enough leadership, player leadership. Roshan Johnson is definitely one of those guys. But it's going to require a lot of good coaching and a lot of player leadership for Texas to win these next 2 games. Now, let's talk about something positive here. And we're going to leave on this note here on this short little podcast here. This was hilarious. Me being the SFA guy, I know you're going to think I'm biased, but you got to love when coaches and players celebrate big wins. Stephen F. Austin, which is the field behind me, they were at Central Arkansas. They picked up their 7th win of the season and are putting themselves in position to be an FCS playoff contender. Well, here's Coach Carthel, who is building that program back up. Big road win. Last year took his shirt off after a big overtime win on the walk-off win over Abilene Christian. This is Coach Carthel for Stephen F. Austin in the locker room with his Lumberjacks. Absolutely hilarious. And Coach Carthel tweeted, yeah, he doesn't have the dance moves. That was stiff, but it was impressive. That's what you love to see between coaches and players and celebrating like that. Of course, we've seen that at Texas as well. And again, Texas it's going to be tough. Number one, they got to take it in 1 week at a time, the cliche, and find a way to win in Morgantown. Hey, if you didn't see it, the main episode, we hit episode 100. There was some pretty amazing and amazing tributes to our 100th episode. You can find those on our Twitter site. You can see here to the left side of the page, Twitter site at Stories Man Cave, or on YouTube and Vimeo. And of course, like, subscribe, and follow our Facebook page and our YouTube page as well. And you can see those 100th episode tributes and the 100th episode as we had a reunion. Big Mike, Hardball Harge, and Coach Mo gave a shout out as well. And for those guys, the Man Cave OGs, for Big Mike, Coach Mo, and Hardball Harge, we out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.